5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to T-Minus episode 6. It's me again here, Mikey Bro. We're going to look at the top free agents heading into the 2035 offseason without regard for those IFAs who will be entering or players on team options or players options or opt-outs. We're not going to look at any of those players because as I was searching through, there is a ton. We're going to go with the tried and true, and we're going to go with the top 3 players who I see as valuable assets. Some are going to be high on some people's list, some are going to be low on some people's list. Not all of them have the same true potential ratings, but these are players who I've identified with ratings and skill sets who I think can adapt and help teams no matter what part they're taken to. First off, I'd like to give an honorable mention to the trio of first basemen who are extremely good, yet everyone has 50 of the guys, starting with Aguilera out of Havana, obviously Bam Bam, a bona fide stud, Taniguchi, who had to wait until post-draft for Hawaii to toss the guy who hit 24, 35, 36, 24, 32, 33 home runs, a life jacket. I was screaming for OKC to pick him up all year, and then Fukuda, I don't need to really explain more about Fukuda, coming out of Quebec. We're going to go ahead and quickly get through this list of third, starting with Jim Burry. He's a middle infielder, second baseman / third baseman coming out of Hawaii. He was originally from Minnesota, who folded during contraction, who then found his way to Kansas City and to Jacksonville before being traded to SoCal, not playing a game. That same offseason was then shipped to Hawaii. He's on pace to put up a 3.5 WAR this season, has put up 2, 4, and .05 WARs the past 3 seasons. Now, Burry's a very interesting player. He could probably rate out at shortstop had he been given more time, so right now he sits at a 23 with ratings and the skill sets outlined in the OOTP manual that would actually translate better to a shortstop. Now, clearly his position is probably third base because of his arm, and second base is decent. He has a decent double play. I don't really think it matters for how I play. I don't put weight necessarily into the turn double play ratings and stuff like that, especially on a franchise where I went and looked. There's not a ton of ground ball pitchers. It doesn't really matter. But he's a very nice bat. He does a lot of things well. Doesn't have that one super sneaky skill set that is super elite that I like. But he's definitely a player that will probably be getting between the $8 and the $10 million range this offseason, and should, because everybody in this league has fucking money. So, Jim Burry, Caesar himself, is someone that you should keep an eye out for, as he'll be hitting free agency in the 2035 class, unless Mikey Roosa decides to extend him. But looking at his roster and his depth coming up, I probably don't see an offer being made. Maybe a qualifying offer to try to, grab a supplemental pick, because Hawaii doesn't seem like he's in financial despair or nothing, but definitely a player to keep an eye on. Next, the bus himself, Jared Damazuski, has been making $1.5 million for, I don't know, ever and a day. Of course, he's having a breakout year. He's one of these imperfect players that I love with crazy power and plus I, but with garbage ratings otherwise. He's having a breakout year at 33. He'll be 34 in the offseason with contact, gap, and avoid K probably being his worst rating, the garbage stats I refer to. But he's hitting about 261 so far this season. Factor in his max defensive ratings at second base, shortstop, and nearly third base, and the ability to play the outfield at a 70-plus rate. Well, he lands number 2 only because starting pitchers are more valuable to me. Bus is a very good player. He's been in trade talks for quite a while. It seems like whichever GM has taken over Georgia, starting with Jesse, everyone was trying to move him at some point. I think he was dangled as well by Ed, I believe, during the point in which Ed was previous, Isaac, during the previous administration. Now, Bus is a player who at 34 years old is probably going to be looking to get paid, but I think he can probably be had on a short-term deal. He's the type of player who I expect to probably find his way back to Georgia, given the type of team that Isaac's putting together, or to another contender. Now, he's 34 years old, as I said, but he's a player who can play multiple positions, who is going to hit a lot of home runs, even more if you take him out of the Baron that is Georgia. There's a player that definitely you should have your eye on. First, and certainly not least, last but certainly not least, closer by designation, Juan Vasquez, but he started for the majority of his career. And I have him first because I view him as a starter. His K per 9 has sat above 9 per season in the starting pitching rate, but he's bumped it up to about 13.5, nearly 14 coming out of the bullpen the last year. He's had multiple seasons with San Diego where he struck out 220 plus and walked under 100. His control is not the best, but if I remember correctly, his resting stuff sits at around 80-85 as a starting pitcher. He's basically at a heap of room ready from Quebec on the right-handed side. He is a right-handed pitcher, and the fact that he doesn't have very aggressive splits given his designation as a right-handed pitcher is very valuable to me. We have many elite, dominant left-handed starting pitchers in this league, but he has to be one of the top 3 or 4 right-handed starting pitchers in the league in terms of strikeout rates. Haven't done the research, apologize. But based on what I recall, and based on how Jeff was aggressively shopping him in recent memory, he's definitely a player who should be atop everyone lists. These are the top 3 free agents I have heading into the 2035 offseason, with the caveat is I don't know the IFAs and I don't know the options, but Jim Burry, Jared Damaszewski, and Juan Vasquez should definitely be on your ABL bargain hunting list, given that you probably have the money to sign it. This was Mikey Bo, episode 6. Thanks for watching, T-, and have a glorious rest of your day.